So just beginning by settling in. I will have a bell at the beginning and at the end of our practice. But moving from being here to being just a little more fully here, just a little more present. And for these next 35 minutes or so, there's nothing that you need to do. There's nothing that you need to figure out or achieve. Having arrived here for meditation practice, this is the real work, just showing up. So really arriving with this felt sense of being available to whatever arises in our experience. And so we might notice the breath in the body. We might even notice those points of contact where our body meets the surface of the chair or where our feet meet the floor. And it's helpful to have a posture where the spine can be straight and the shoulders can remain back and down, just a nice broad open chest. And palms can be face down or face up on the lap. And if you find it supportive, you can invite the eyes to close. You can also just keep the gaze just a quarter of the way open and gazing a few feet into the floor in front of you. And when we do this, we're not staring holes into the floor. You might even notice if there's a sense of contraction in the eyes. And if so, just loosening. Or, as I said, if it's more supportive, you can close the eyes. So by settling the body, we're encouraging the mind to also settle. The experience of the mind can often feel like a glass of muddy water that has been shaken and stirred with thoughts, ideas of the past or the future. And when we start to settle the body and we start to allow our mind and our body to really inhabit the same space by knowing what the body is doing, then we allow for some of that mud to settle in the glass. In this way, we stop shaking and stirring. And in doing so, there is an innate clarity of the mind that can become revealed. So even when thoughts are clouding the mind, it's not a problem. It's just like when clouds are in the sky. The sky isn't affected ultimately by the clouds. It remains. So we don't need to do anything about the cloudiness of our experience, whether that comes in the form of thoughts or sensations or emotions or moods. we can just hold them all as passing weather systems. Just knowing this is breathing in, and this is breathing out. And we can get a little more granular with the awareness by noticing not just the fact that we're breathing in or breathing out, but really being curious about the quality and experience of each breath. So you might notice how some breaths are more shallow and some are deeper. You might notice that some are smooth and others less so. And you might even rest your attention on that empty space between the inhalation and the exhalation, or that space at the bottom of the exhale that exists before the next inhale arrives. Bringing curiosity into that space. Noticing where the breath touches you. Just feeling on this next inhalation all the places that the breath touches. You might notice it in the top of the mouth, the throat, the nasal cavity. You might notice the touch of the breath with the rising and falling of the shoulders or the chest or the belly. You might notice where the breath touches the upper lip, a warm temperature on the exhale, or a slight cooling sensation on the edges of the nostrils on the inhale. And oftentimes in our practice, we notice that we will follow the breath for a while, knowing the quality of the breath. And then we get distracted. The mind gets distracted by sensations and sounds, memories and fantasies. The mind is habituated in this way. So this is a mind training. We're training in calm abiding, in this very simple act of just resting awareness in one place with each breath. So if we notice that we've wandered off from this object of attention, first celebrate. Because the moment that you realize that you're not paying attention to the breath, that moment of realizing is a moment of awakening. It's a moment of clear seeing, a cause for celebration. So while it can be tempting sometimes to feel discouraged, remember that this is the practice. Coming back again and again to this object of attention, the body breathing, the body sitting, there is no greater mountain to climb in our practice. Simply aligning mind and body, that is enough. Over and over. The Buddha said that there is nirvanic peace in things left just as they are. So when thoughts come, leaving them be. Not every thought needs thinking. We don't need to follow the thoughts. We can simply notice and leave it as it is, which also means not resisting, not pushing away or closing down to any experience, but treating everything that arises, sounds, perceptions, feelings, treating them all as an invited guest, welcoming all experience and leaving it as it is. In this way, we can rest the weary heart and mind. So finding rest in the sensation of the inflow and outflow of the body breathing. There are times in our practice where we can feel difficulty, where we feel tense or tightening. And if that happens in practice, just letting your attention go to those places, accommodating them, just knowing this is what this sensation is like right now. And if at any point it becomes overwhelming, we can titrate our attention with parts of our experience that may be easier to be with, more neutral. And we can often find these at points of contact, where the top eyelid meets the bottom eyelid, where lips are touching, where our hands make contact with the body or each other. Feeling the weight and the texture and sensation of our clothes on the body. Noticing the places of contact where the body meets the earth, meets the ground. So we can let our awareness rest in those places, and then when we feel ready, we can reinvestigate. Noticing how any experiences of contraction may have shifted. And anytime we encounter the squeeze in practice, we can offer that compassionate allowing without pushing it away, but also opening up into other sensations that are present. And letting yourself rest there. In these final few minutes of practice, just noticing if there's a meditator here who's meditating. If there's any type of identity or self efforting, let that go completely. Just relaxed, just being, just breathing, not performing, not trying to be good at it, just trying to rest, allowing rest. And let's dedicate the merits of our practice time together for the benefits of self and of others. May all sentient beings who want and need the same as we do, may all be liberated, healed, peaceful, and free. May there be peace in this world. And may all of our activities be for the highest benefit of all beings and all things everywhere. May all beings and all things everywhere have peace. Thank you so much for your beautiful practice. I hope you'll join us again next Monday. And we'll now continue with our Zoom room meetings so that we can keep chatting and say hello to one another. So if you're joining us live on YouTube, I do invite you to go to lauraccannon.com and join under events so that you can practice with us after our live. So thank you, and I hope to see you again.